Cuba. When you probably think about Cuba, you probably think about Havana, amazing beaches, and Cuban cigars. You may also think about economic sanctions, but that's not really fun to think about, is it? In this video, I will tell you all you need to know about buying a SIM card in Cuba, because international roaming can be crazy expensive. And even when we talk about international/travel SIM cards, they are not worth it in Cuba. But still, Cuba is still an expensive place for mobile data. So what do you need to know? I'll tell all about it in this video, covering 6 different chapters. Let's just get started, shall we? Hi, it's Otto from Phone Travelers here, where we talk about everything related to traveling with your phone, such as buying a SIM card in Cuba, where I do all the testing and research for you so that you do not have to. So I understand that we're all busy and you want to get our information very quickly. So I'll give you an up to 1 minute summary of everything you need to know about SIM cards here in Cuba. In Cuba, you only have one option, which is Cubacel by ETECSA, probably. A SIM card will cost you 1,000 Cuban peso, which is about 41.70 USD, or let's just say 42 USD. If you want to save some money, you can also decide to rent a SIM card for 75 Cuban peso, but you need to rent it for at least 3 days, and you need to recharge at least 250 Cuban peso, making the minimum about 475 Cuban peso, or about 20 USD. The SIM cards are sold at Cubacel stores or at Havana International Airport. Do know that SIM card registration is mandatory, and you need to be at least 18 to get yourself a SIM card. And you can also get a tourist SIM card called the Cubacel Tour. It costs $25 with 2.5 gigabytes of data, 20 local minutes, and 20 local SMS. And this one is valid for 30 days and cannot be extended. And I hope I stay within my minute. Let's go back. So that's a very quick summary, and if you think, well, I know all I need to know, also make sure to like the video, consider buying me a coffee in the link down below, and yeah, I will see you in the next video. And if you think, well, I want to learn more because I'm already intrigued, good, because I'm continuing with this video. When I said that you can actually rent a SIM card, I actually meant it. It's not like I used a term incorrectly. No, I actually mean renting. So instead of paying 1,000 Cuban peso, which is about 41.80, 90, 70, I don't know, let's just say 42 US dollar, just to make things easier, you can also decide to rent a SIM card for 75 Cuban peso, which is about this in USD. But even though this sounds quite cheap, especially compared to buying a SIM card, there are still some things you need to be aware of, such as that you need to rent it for at least 3 days, making it a minimum of 225 Cuban peso, plus you need to recharge 250, making the minimum you need to pay to rent a SIM card 475 Cuban peso. Well, what will happen when you decide to just keeping the SIM card and just take it home with you? They will probably detain you at the airport. Actually, I'm joking. I don't know. I haven't tried it. But yeah, well, if you want to try it, let me know. But yeah, I wouldn't really risk it. So let's say if you for some reason going to Cuba for 3 days, is worth it. 6 days, 8 days, yes, but if you're staying for a longer period, it might be better to keep the SIM card, and it could be a nice souvenir. At least to me it is. So now that we're still talking about prices, I actually want to put mobile data rates in comparison with other places in the Caribbean, so that you can see if things are expensive, cheap, or average. Well, in Cuba, the average cost of 1 gigabyte of data is 7.50 USD, which makes Cuba the 5th most expensive place for mobile data in the Caribbean, which is quite crazy. So that is something to be aware of when getting yourself a SIM card here in Cuba or using mobile data. Maybe you think, well, that sounds way too expensive. I just want to save money and not use data at all. Sure, you can do so, but be aware that hotel Wi-Fi is incredibly slow. Public Wi-Fi barely exists, and some hotels even charge you for using Wi-Fi, and well, that's not cheap either. So be aware of these points. Okay, I want to quickly talk about frequencies, and not too long, and I won't go too much in depth about it because that will confuse you. You actually need to look at this map and you'll see 3 different regions, but actually 1 and 3, they share the same frequencies, referred to as European frequencies, whereas in region 2 it's called American frequencies. Well, I hope you know that Cuba falls in the IT region 2, where they should use American frequencies, but they do not. Instead, they use European frequencies, meaning that if you come from a country or you bought your phone in the region 1 or 3 region, you can use your phone in Cuba with no issues. But if you have a low-end phone or a cheap phone from IT region 2, then there's a possibility that you cannot even use your phone when you are in Cuba. So be aware of that. If you want to learn more about frequencies and how it can affect the way you travel with your phone, make sure to watch the video up there or there. Hey, I haven't recorded the video in about a year, so I don't know where the I is anymore. And if you're watching this video on the frontofwrist.com website, make sure to go up or down to Can I Use My Phone in Cuba section, where there will be an explanation and a video explaining things as well. So remember, at your region 1 and 3, can use your phone without issues in Cuba. At you 2, if it's low-end phone, could be issues or not at all. If it's medium/high-end, no issues at all either. Okay, let's continue. Where to get yourself a SIM card here in Cuba? Well, you have to go to the official stores of ETECSA. Let's just say Cubacel to make it easier for me. My Spanish is no, although I can read it to some extent, surprisingly. You have to go to the Cubacel stores where you can get yourself a SIM card, or if you fly into Havana International Airport, or with this beautiful name, you can get SIM cards there as well. They prefer it if you pay with cash, but at the airport you can pay with card. At other places like regular Cubacel stores, you better bring cash. That might be easier. Well, I say it might be easier, they won't accept card, so you better bring cash, because otherwise you cannot get yourself a SIM card. And be aware that you need to be at least 18 plus to get a prepaid SIM card here in Cuba, and you can have up to 3 SIM cards on your name. So let's say you're traveling with your kids, they are 16 and 12, you can put them on your name, but they cannot get them on their own name. So let's talk about speeds, because speeds are important, especially if you want to use mobile data. Well, how are the speeds here in Cuba? Well, they are quite slow. I say quite slow, they are slow, but you need to be aware that Cuba didn't have 3G until 2018, whereas most countries already had 4G by the time, and 4G only started in 2019. So if you look at these speeds that I'm showing you on the screen, which are not impressive at all, but if you learn or remember that, hey, it's just 2-3 years that they decided to build their mobile communication, it's quite impressive. They're doing better than most African nations, which, well, is sad, but still. But they still have room for improvement, and they're still working on improving their 4G LTE coverage. So it's going quite well. 5G in Cuba won't be there anytime soon, because they just started with 4G, so don't expect 5G anytime soon. Topping up your Cubacel SIM card, you actually have 3 different denominations: 120 Cuban peso, 250 Cuban peso, and 500 Cuban peso. They are sold in Cubacel stores and many other places around the country. To top up, dial *666 and follow the instruction, or you can just tell the salesperson that this is your phone number, I want, let's say, 500 Cuban peso on my SIM card, and then they can recharge it through the POS system, point of sale system, and that might be easier than calling 666 and trying to find out what they are saying in Spanish if you do not speak Spanish or understand Spanish. Let's talk about the plans. Well, normally I would just show you 1 or 2 plans of the mobile operator. In Cuba, we only have 1 option, so I can just go to all of them. You have 4 different options, and at the end I will give you my recommendation. And keep in mind that I focus on data a lot. I don't really care about calling, but still, I will tell that at the end. So we actually have 4 different plans, and I will give you the English translation, because I don't want to embarrass myself trying to speak Spanish. We have the combo plans, we have the bags, if translated very directly, the LTE packages or 4G packages, and the additional packages for the tourist SIM card, the Cubacel Tour. So let's go to them all, shall we? The combo plans are, as the name implies, combination packages with data, minutes, and SMS. And you have these 3 options. And if you look close, you will see that there's a dedicated 3G and 4G LTE data allowance. With 4G you get more than 3G. So if you're staying in Havana, you'll most likely use 4G most of the time. If you're going to the outskirts of, I don't know which town or village, then you will most likely be on 3G, because, well, there's probably no 4G there. So be aware of these 2 different allowances. And then you get some minutes and SMS for local use only. Then we have the bags, which are very small data allowances or data packages, I would say, up to 200 megabytes for 30 days. Actually, I said it wrong. The long one is only 50 megabytes, and the short one, so the one for 24 hours, is with 200 megabytes. Why? I don't know. Then we have the LTE packages, so the 4G LTE packages. Even though the name says LTE as in 4G, that doesn't mean that you can only use it on 4G, but one of the plans, the lower plan, actually does have some sort of a 3G and 4G data allowance. We get 4 gigabytes of data on 3G and the remaining 12 gigabytes of data for 4G LTE. And then we have the additional packages for the Cubacel Tour SIM card or the Tourist SIM card, where we have 4 different options. And as you can see, these are priced in US dollar instead of Cuban peso, because, well, that's how it is. And when you look at the validity, it doesn't say like 5 days, 30 days or whatever, because the tourist SIM cards is only valid for 30 days and it cannot be extended with buying this plan or these additional packages. So that's why if you buy one of these plans and let's say you already used like for 15 days and you think, well, I want to stay longer and I buy one of these plans, not possible. It will end at the original 30 days. So that's what you need to know about buying a SIM card in Cuba. It's quite straightforward, mostly because you don't really have competition here, because you only have one operator and one option. And yeah, we have 4 different type of plans. What are the plans I would actually get? I would get the LTE packages. Like I said, I like data and I like big data allowances. 1, because I use a lot of data, and 2, for speed tests and testing purposes. But if you think you need to make local calls, make sure to get the combo plan, because the standard pay-as-you-go call rates are quite pricey. So I wouldn't really recommend them at all. So what do you think about the offering here in Cuba? Do you think it's good enough? Do you think it's bad? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you still think, well, I need to know much more about Cuban SIM cards, worry not, make sure to go to ptw.link/Cuba-guide, where you can read my very in-depth SIM card buying guide that you can also see on the screen there. But I've covered most of the global and important things in this video already. So that was it for today. Make sure to like this video, subscribe for more videos related to Caribbean SIM cards or Cuban SIM cards, like reviews, and consider buying me a coffee. That won't be used for actually buying a coffee, but improving the channel and the website. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.